Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Vanatira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stota Dashata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stota Dashata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tagore Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text number 17, titled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Lokaha Vikarma nirataha kushale pramataha karmani ayam twat udite bhavat archane swe yaha tavat asya balavan iha jivita asham sadyaha chinati animishaya namaha astu tasmai loko vikarma nirita loko vikarma nirita kushale pramata loko vikarma niyata kushale pramata karmanayam tvarudite bhavat archane swe karmanayam tvarudite bhavat archane swe yastavarasya balavan hi ajivatasham yastavarasya balavan hi ajivatasham sadashchinanti anamishaya namo tuta sadashchinati anamishaya namo tustasmai sadashchinanti anamishaya namo tustasmai loko vikarma niyata kushale pramata karmanayam tvarudite bhavat archane swe yastavarasya balavan hi ajivitasham sadashchinati anamishayamo tustasmai. Please repeat. Sadashchinati animishaya namostu tasmai.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramata.
Loko vikarma niyate kushale pramata.
Karmanyayam tvarudite bhavararchane sve.
Karmanayam tvarudite bhavararchane swe.
Yastavarasya balavani hajivitasham.
Yastavarasya balavan hi ajivitasham.
Sadyashchenatyanimishaya namostu tasmai.
Sadhyashinati animishaya namostu tasmai.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramata.
Loko vikarma niyata kushale pramata.
Karmanyayam tadurite bhavararchane swe.
Karmanyayam tvarudite bhavararchane swe.
Yastavarasya balavani hajivitasham.
Yastavarasya balavani hajivitasham.
Sadyashchinatyanimishaya namostu tasmai.
Sadyashchenatyanimishaya namostu tasmai.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramata.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramata.
Karmanyayam tvarudite bhavararchane swe.
Karmanyayam tadurite bhavararchane swe.
Yastavarasya balavani hajivitasham.
Yastavarasya balavan yajivitasham.
Sadyasyanatyanimishaya namostu tasmai.
Sadyasyanantyanimisha namostu tasmai. Matajis. Loko vikarma niyate kushale pramata. Karmanyayam dvarudite bhavararchane swe. Yastavarasya balavan hi ajivitasham. Sadyasyanati animishai namostu tasmai. Loko vikarmaniyate kushale pramata. Karmanayam tvarudite bhavararchane swe. Yastavarasya balavan hi ajivitasham. Sadyasyanantyanimishaye namostu tasmai. Lokaha, people in general. Vikarma, without work, without sense. Nirataha, engaged in. Kushale, in beneficial activity. Pramataha, negligent. Karmani, in activity. Ayam, this. Tvat, by you. Udite, enunciated. Bhavat, of you. Archane, in worship. Swe, their own. Yaha, who. Tavat, as long as. Asya, of the people in general. Balavan, very strong. Iha, this. Jivata asham, struggle for existence. Sadhyaha, directly. Chinnati, is cut to pieces. Animishaya, by the eternal time. Namaha, my obeisances. Astu, let there be. Tasmai, unto him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki. People in general all engaged in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial. People in general all engaged in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. Purport. People in general are all engaged in senseless work. They are systematically unmindful for the real beneficial work, which is the devotional service of the Lord, technically called the Archana regulations. The Archana regulations are directly instructed by the Lord in the Narada Pancharatra and are strictly followed by the intelligent men, who know well that the highest perfectional goal of life is to reach Lord Vishnu, who is the root of the tree called the cosmic manifestation. Also, in the Bhagavatam and in the Bhagavad Gita, such regulative activities are clearly mentioned. Foolish people do not know that their self-interest is in realization of Vishnu. The Bhagavatam 7.5.30-32 says, Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mito Bhidbhadyeta Griha Vratanam Adanta Gobhir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punashcharvita Charvananam Nate Vidhu Swartagatim Vishnum Durashaya Yebhir Atamaninaha Andhayatandher Upanayi Amanas Te Pishatantram Urubdam Nibadaha Naisham Matistava Urukarmangrim Sprashit Anartha Bhangam Sprishat Anartho Bhagamo Yadartaha Mahi Yashampadura Persons who are determined to totally rot in false material happiness cannot become Krishna-minded either by instructions from teachers, by self-realization, or by parliamentary discussions. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the chewed. Because of their foolish activities, they are unaware that the ultimate goal of human life is to achieve Vishnu, the Lord of the cosmic manifestation, and so their struggle for existence is in the wrong direction of material civilization, which is under the external energy. They are led by similar foolish persons, just as one blind man is led by another blind man, and both fall in the ditch. Such foolish men cannot be attracted towards the activities of the Supreme Powerful, who is actually the neutralizing measure for their foolish activities, unless and until they have the good sense to be guided by the great souls who are completely freed from material attachment. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asks everyone to give up all other occupational duties and absolutely engage in archana activities, or in pleasing the Lord. But almost no one is attracted to such archana activity. Everyone is more or less attracted by activities which are conditions of rebellion against the Supreme Lord. The systems of jnana and yoga are also against the Supreme Lord. The systems of jnana and yoga are also directly rebellious against acts against the Lord. There is no auspicious activity except archana of the Lord. Jnana and yoga are sometimes accepted within the purview of archana when the ultimate aim is Vishnu and not otherwise. The conclusion is that only the devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation. Others are vainly struggling for existence without any actual benefit. Om Ajnanatiranhasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swami Ruprakadamahyam Dadati Swabarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shetaf Paragamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnamasha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Shivam Sarvedam Savadutam Prayujani Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Ladita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Manamosate Tapta Kanchara Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pramani Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatusha Kapasini Vicha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Hari Janagana Bahadi Gyana Kamana Hari Bhagati Bhakti Bhakti Siddhanta Kanti Vinivikana Lakshmi Gamyo Bhuvijay Devikaso Bhakti Purva Vidindra Om Hari Vidaya Namasarva Raksham Nastangri Parma Patikindra Prishte Dharari Jama Sigadeshu Chapa Pashandadanu Shaganu Shabahu Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Niti Namane Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Sarasvate Devi Gauravani Vishayani Nirvishesha Shunivadi Bhasha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vidigarar Hara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Loko vikarma nirta kushale pramata karma nyayam tvarudite bhavar archane swe yasta varasya balavan hi ajiva dasham sadashananti anamisha namotu stasmai. People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. So, Srila Prabhupada, more or less in this whole entire purport, he's saying that the non-devotees are striving very hard to enjoy this material world. And actually, we were going through these prayers of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, in his prayers, he describes the the symptoms of non-devotee who are not surrendering to Vishnu. So if you can pull up verse 6, you can just go to 6. Yeah, 6 of this chapter. So he said, "O my Lord, the people of the world are embarrassed by all material anxieties. They are always afraid. They always try to protect wealth, body, and friends. They are filled with lamentation and unlawful desires and paraphernalia. and they avariciously base their undertakings on the perishable conceptions of my and mine. As long as they do not take shelter of your safe lotus feet, they are full of such anxieties. Next verse. O my Lord, persons who are bereft of all auspicious performance of chanting and hearing about your transcendental activities are certainly unfortunate and are also bereft of good sense. They engage in auspicious activities, enjoying sense gratification for a very little while. O great actor, my Lord, next verse. O great actor, my Lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion, and bile, attacked by coughing winter, blasting summer, rains, and many other disturbing elements, and overwhelmed by strong sex urges and indefatigable anger. I take pity on them, and I am very much grieved for them. Next verse. O my Lord, the material miseries are without factual existence for the soul. As long as the conditioned soul sees the body as mean for sense enjoyment, he cannot get out the entanglement of material miseries, being influenced by your external energy. Next verse. Such non-devotees engage their senses in very troublesome and extensive work, and they suffer insomnia at night because of their speculations. They are frustrated in all their various plans by supernatural power. Even great sages, if they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world. So as we see here in Lord Brahma's prayers, he's describing the conditioned soul, like how they're not surrendered to Krishna, how their lives are living, what they have to suffer in this material world. And, Srila Prabhupada says in this purport over and over again, this word, and it's in the word for word, archana. This archana means, also like, deity worship, directly worshiping the deity itself. But in this connection, what Srila Prabhupada is using it in like devotional service overall, as he says in this purport, archana regulations. So they are systematically unmindful of the beneficial work, which is the devotional service of the Lord, technically called the archana regulations. So, as we can see, the non-devotees are engaging in the utmost to maintain their this temporary body in such sophisticated ways, but nevertheless, they're on the platforms of animals, or even worse than animals, as we can see what Lord Brahma was saying. If you can pull up this verse 764, it's actually very nice. It's actually really amazing. Yesterday, we heard a class from Srila Prabhupada, and this verse is like a perfect verse for this verse that I'm speaking on. So, endeavors merely for sense gratification or material happiness through economic development are not to be performed, for they result only in the loss of time and energy with no actual profit. If one's endeavors are directed toward Krishna consciousness, one can surely attain the spiritual platform of self-realization. There's no such benefit from engaging oneself in economic development. So if you can go to the purport, I don't think it's a long purport. We see materialistic persons busily engaged in economic development all day and night, trying to increase their material opulence, but even if we suppose that they get some benefit from such endeavors, that does not solve the real problem of their lives, nor do they know what the real problem of life is. This is due to the lack of spiritual education, especially in the present age. Every man is in darkness in the bodily conception of life, not knowing anything of the spirit soul and its needs. Misguided by blind leaders of society, people consider the body to be everything, and they are engaged in trying to keep the body materially comfortable. Such a civilization is condemned because it does not lead humanity toward knowing the real goal of life. People are simply wasting time and the valuable gift of the human form, because a human being who does not cultivate spiritual life, but dies like the cats and dogs, is degraded in his next life. From human life, such a person is put into the cycle of continuous birth and death. Thus, one loses the true benefit of human life, which is to become Krishna conscious and solve life's problems. So this is really amazing. We were hearing this from Srila Prabhupada yesterday. And this hits directly on the point that anything not in correlation towards Krishna consciousness or in surrendering to the Supreme Lord Vishnu is a complete waste of time. And it completely derives no benefit at all. And even in this purport too, Srila Prabhupada gives these verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter. Even says here, it correlates to the verse this verse I just read. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus madly engaged in what is called chewing the chewed. So they actually get no benefit at all. They're just constantly over and over. It's an endless cycle of just repeatedly going to work, going back home, going to work, going back home, like this over and over and over and over and over again. This is their only conception of life, is to try their hardest for sense gratification, but ultimately they get some sort of temporary happiness, but they never actually have any peace of mind, ever. They're always in anxiety, even at work, even going to work, even at home. Anytime they're always thinking of something like, when are the bills going to be paid? What time am I going to get my kid from school? What time am I going to get groceries from the grocery store? Like this, they are always wondering and endeavoring for simple needs just to make themselves feel comfortable. Can you also put up this 10th canto? What is it? 10:70:26. This verse it's actually the same exact verse as this verse, but it's a little it's translated differently at the end. So Lord Brahma is saying this in the 3rd canto of this verse, and this is the 10th canto, and it's the kings that Jarasandha imprisoned, and then they start to offer prayers to Lord Krishna, and Brahma is offering these prayers to Vishnu. So people in this world are always engaged in sinful activities and are thus bewildered about their real duty, which is to worship you according to your commandments. This activity commandments. This activity would truly bring them good fortune. Let us offer obeisance unto the all-powerful Lord, who appears as time and slowly cuts down one stubborn hope for a long life in this world. So that's really amazing. It's like the exact same verse, but like a little different translation, as Prabhupada. This is Prabhupada's disciples, but still pretty amazing nonetheless. I really like this. It correlates to this verse. Who appears as time and suddenly cuts down one stubborn hope for a long life in this world. So the non-devotees, they're planning years in advance to try to enjoy sense gratification, planning and planning and planning, to have some sort of peaceful situation, always trying to free themselves from anxiety. But such a situation will never come unless they surrender unto Krishna. This is the only way for peace. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye tu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasa matparaha anyanyeva yogena mam dhayanta upasade tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha mayi avesheta chetasam. If you can pull up 12:6-7. Bhagavad Gita. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pratap, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So as we can see here, Krishna's devotees who surrender unto him, he frees them from all the anxieties. And the most, as Prabhupada says yesterday in the class, he was saying that the people are trying to have these big buildings, these big roads, and these big facilities to enjoy and stuff like this, and try to free themselves from this temporary anxiety. But the ultimate anxiety is birth, death, old age, and disease. But they're not trying to free themselves from the real problems of life. And Krishna says here, if you devote everything to him and fix your mind upon him, he swiftly delivers you very easily of the ocean of birth and death. We understand that Krishna's devotees, people who are surrendered unto Krishna, they are free from all anxiety. They're beyond. Krishna's devotees are beyond time. Like it's said that the cycle. What was this word? There's a verse like that where not like that. The disc. It's like this. The disc of time, something like this. But Krishna's, wheel of time, like that. So, Krishna's devotees are easily able to overcome this anxiety of time, this time factor. So, many people do not know what the goal of life is. They're completely clueless. If you can pull up this 16:7, Bhagavad Gita. This describes the non-devotees who are trying very hard. Privitim na Privitim cha nivritim cha jhana na vidura suraha na socham napi cha charu na satyam teshu vidyate. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. Next, can you go to the next verse? Next verse. You can just go to it. They say that this world is unreal with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. The demoniac conclude that the world is phantasmagoria. There's no cause and effect, no controller, no purpose. Everything is unreal. They say that this cosmic manifestation arises due to chance, material actions, and reactions. They do not think that the world was created by God for a certain purpose. They have their own theory that the world has come about in its own way and that there is no reason to believe that there is a God behind it. For them, there is no difference between spirit and matter, and they do not accept the Supreme Spirit. Everything is matter only, and the whole cosmos is supposed to be a mass of ignorance. According to them, everything is void, and whatever manifestation exists is due to ignorance and perception. They take it for granted that all manifestation of diversity is a display of ignorance. Just as in a dream, we may create so many things which actually have no existence. So when we awake, we shall see that everything is simply a dream. But factually, although the demons say that life is a dream, they are very expert in enjoying this dream. So we call these people froggish jugglers. You know, they're trying so hard, speculating like this, all these scientists, everything comes from nothing. You know, somehow or another, everything just came into existence like this. And, you know, Guru Maharaj, he has these series of lectures, is really, you know, what is this? Science, God, Science, and Atheism. And he describes there that, you know, people actually don't know what real religion is. Or, you know, these scientists, it was like Richard Dawkins, right? He was or like in the recent one actually, there was like some, I think it was some scientist, I'm not sure, like this, but he was saying that, you know, he was giving a description of another scientist, saying that he cannot believe that there's no way that, you know, this makes any sense, that nothing came from something. And then he goes on to reply, we call this in psychology denial. That's what he says, in denial. Yeah, these people are big rascals, and they're trying so hard to try to convince others that the goal of life is not to surrender to Krishna. And if you can go to the next verse. Following such conclusions, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. The demoniac are engaged in activities that will lead the world to destruction. The Lord states here that that they are less intelligent. The materialists who have no concept of God think that they are advancing. But according to Bhagavad Gita, they are unintelligent and devoid of all sense. They try to enjoy this material world to the utmost limit and therefore always engage in inventing something for sense gratification. Such materialistic inventions are considered to be advancement of human civilization, but the result is that people grow more and more violent and more cruel to animals and cruel to other human beings. They have no idea how to behave toward one another. Animal killing is very prominent against demoniac people. Such people are considered the enemies of the world because ultimately they will invent or create something which will bring destruction to all. Indirectly, this verse anticipates the invention of nuclear weapons, of which the whole world is today very proud of. So as we can see, you know, in this purport, it speaks about the nuclear bomb and how demoniac people are just for their sense gratification, they're ready to distress the entire world and others. Just for sense gratification, they're ready to do anything it takes. They're like really fired up for sense gratification, these demons, you know. Whatever means possible, they're trying to not have religious principles in the society. And the whole goal of the society, you know, people are thinking we're advancing, so much technology we have, so many more scientists we have, so many philosophers we have, all these different speculators and all these so-called advancement. It's actually the opposite, as Prabhupada says in this verse, in this purport. They're thinking they're advancing, but actually they're not. It's actually reversed. They're going backwards. You know, like like I was saying in the beginning, they're even worse than animals, because animals, the humans and animals, they do almost basically the same thing. Only difference is that humans are more smarter, more intelligent. They're able to understand higher knowledge, like Atato Brahma Jigyasa, understand higher knowledge, trying to understand the Supreme. But animals cannot do this. So this human form of life is, even Srila Prabhupada was saying yesterday, we should take, he was saying, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was saying to not engage in devotional service is an act of violence against oneself. So we should try our utmost to endeavor for Krishna consciousness. And, these people are really trying very hard not to go in this direction. And as Srila Prabhupada yesterday was saying in this class, people who want to enjoy man or woman is called Purusha. They want to be enjoyers, they want to be the controllers. But ultimately, as Srila Prabhupada is saying this in this purport, the conclusion is that only the devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation. Others are vainly struggling for existence without any actual benefit. So if you can continue to the next verse of this 10. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and a false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusion, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. Next verse. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Next verse. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future, more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So it goes into this, what I was saying, as Srila Prabhupada was saying yesterday. People are really trying to be the enjoyers and controllers, the Purusha, as it says, as Srila Prabhupada was saying yesterday in his purport we were hearing yesterday. And this statement that Srila Prabhupada is saying in the end of this purport, that no one else is a bona fide human being except for Krishna's devotees, it's a very heavy statement from Srila Prabhupada. But as we know, is nonetheless, it is a fact as we analyze the modern society today, because they're not really trying to, like I said earlier, they're not really trying to understand higher knowledge, atato brahma jigyasa. They're no better than animals. And because the pain people experience now, it is only temporary, but the real suffering is the endless cycle of repeated birth and death. And the only way for us to free us from the suffering of material existence is through the mercy of Guru and Krishna. It's this verse, can you pull up this Madhya Lila 19:151? Brahmananda pramiti kone bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti latad bij. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. And some are going down into the lower planetary. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. When we speak of Brahmananda, we refer to the whole universe, or the cluster of many millions of universes. In all the universes, there are innumerable planets, and there are innumerable living entities. Upon those planets, in the air, on land, and in the water, there are millions and trillions of living entities everywhere. and they are engaged by Maya and suffering and enjoying the results of their fruitive activity, life after life. This is the position of the materially conditioned living entities. Out of many of these living entities, one who is actually fortunate, Bhagyavan, comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master by Krishna's mercy. Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, and if one desires something, Krishna fulfills one's desire. If the living entity, by chance or fortune, comes in contact with the Krishna conscious movement and wishes to associate with that movement, Krishna, who is situated in everyone's heart, gives him the chance to meet a bona fide spiritual master. This is called Guru Krishna Prasad. Krishna is prepared to bestow his mercy upon all living entities, and as soon as the living entity derides the Lord's mercy, the Lord immediately gives him an opportunity to meet a bona fide spiritual master. Such a fortunate person is fortified by both Krishna and the spiritual master. He is helped from within by Krishna and from without by the spiritual master. Both are prepared to help the sincere living being become free from material bondage. So as we can see from this verse here, the only way to free ourselves from this wheel of time and death is through the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So we ourselves have to go out there and try to wake up these living entities from the lap of Maya and try to get these people to understand what the true goal of life is. Because I was saying earlier, these people in this modern society actually don't know what the real goal of life is. They're endeavoring so very hard. And when I'm on book distribution, I like to ask this question to many people. I ask them, what do you come in this world into? Like, what do you come in this world with? Like, what material possessions do you own when you come into this world? And they say nothing. And what do you leave this world with? Nothing. So I ask them, ultimately, what do you own? And then they start to think, and then their face becomes really blank, and they get really, it's really funny. And then they say nothing, because ultimately nothing is ours. We understand this, that we're not the body, we're the soul. And when I ask them this, they realize, whoa, actually, I don't own anything, actually. And they say that, they say it. So, and then I remember I was asking someone, okay, so we own nothing, and ultimately none of this is beneficial towards any one of us or yourself. So why do you continue to keep doing this? Why? And the answer they gave me was, well, it feels good to have some sort of pride, or I'm feeling proud of some sort of success. But again, like, what's the point of this pride or success if it ultimately has no fruit? It's just you're just going to keep coming and going like this endless cycle. And they really become clueless on what they should do. So we should try to give people these books and try to give people to understand the higher knowledge in this material world, because this human form of life is not meant to just mate, eat, sleep, and defend, as Prabhupada was saying yesterday. And, we sing this every morning, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasada nagati kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. So only through the Guru can we make any spiritual advancement. And so, while we're distributing books out there, we're also considered some sort of guru, What is this? Like the person who introduces you to Krishna consciousness? I always forget how to. Yeah. I'm a butcher if I try to say it. So, yeah, we are also, in one sense, Shiksha Gurus by trying to give people these Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Saptarishi said, Bhakta Stacks, whatever we give these people, we're introducing them to Krishna consciousness. Like I was reading, I've been reading in the 4th canto, and Dhruva Maharaj, he was heading his way back home, back to Godhead, and even though he was going back home, back to Godhead, his mother, what's his mother's name? Suniti, I think it's Suniti, right? Yeah, Suniti. While he was going back home back to Godhead, he was asking the Vishnu Dutas that, he was feeling, Krishna knew, because Krishna is in everyone's hearts, that he was feeling some lamentation for his mother, I also want her to come back home back to Godhead with me, because she's the one who introduced me to Krishna consciousness. She's the one who showed me the path to free myself from material bondage and try to engage myself always in thinking of the Supreme Lord. So he felt obliged to try to bring his mother back as well. And I remember Srila Prabhupada, he says in that purport that anyone who gives you Krishna consciousness or like shows you the path for liberation, then if that person takes up seriously and is able to, free themselves from all material bodies and go back and back to Godhead, you can also take your guru back home, back to Godhead like that, for one who's a serious practitioner. So we have to regularly study this Srimad Bhagavatam. Like I remember we were having this brahmachari class, and like Mahosa Prabhu was saying, reading the Srimad Bhagavatam is like sharpening the sword or sharpening the axe, as Mason was giving that analogy, sharpening the axe so we can cut down this tree, or sharpening the sword so we can cut our material desires like that. So reading this Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, then our intelligence can become clear. Because like I was saying earlier, these human beings, they never most people never even question what they're doing in life. But this Srimad Bhagavatam, it pushes you to think, who are we, why are we, who am I, what am I, like that. So what are we doing in this world, why are we doing this, what should we be doing, like this, we should try to understand. And then we come to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we should fully surrender unto Him. Sarva dharma parityaja mameka shanarajam ham tam sarva papayo moksha shami masucha. We all know this verse. And then we won't be interested in material development. And there's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. You don't have to pull it up, I can paraphrase. But basically, in the 11th canto, I believe. Let me see if I can find, hold on. Sorry, one second. Yeah. So having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, the Srimad Bhagavatam, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being, by the way, this is Canto 11, chapter 20, verses 27 through 28. So, having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. So Krishna's devotees, they know that these activities for material enjoyment is a waste of time, as Krishna says here, and they have conviction, great faith to worship Him, to free themselves, and they sincerely repent the activities that we have committed. Like I remember Navani Hoda Prabhu was giving a class, and he was saying that, even we should, even for our past misdeeds, we should always regret what we have done, like that. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is a way for persons to become actual human beings, to establish the Lord in their hearts. They have this famous verse, First Canto 112. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within the heart. So, if you go to the purport as well. Oh, you're okay, I'll read the purport. Religion includes 4 primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally liberation from material bondage. Irreligious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating are the 4 principles of animal life. These are common both to animals and to human beings, but religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, human life is no better than an animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. So as we can see here, Prabhupada is saying, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is saying that the human form of the goal of life is to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to try to cultivate religious activities, And like this, we should try to sharpen our intelligence by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam every day, cultivating like this, in the was nectar of instruction. It says that, accept what is favorable and don't accept what is unfavorable, like this. So we should try our best to understand this Srimad Bhagavatam in and out. So I'll end my class here. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions, comments, corrections, chastisements, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You were saying that you ask people that on Sankirtan. That's pretty cool. I like that. Asking what they come with and what they leave with. I was just thinking about it. Well, yeah, they don't leave with anything that they want, but they leave with all those unlimited sinful reactions.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and go to hell and suffer like anything.
Yeah,
and they have all these anarthas that they've gotten from this life, and it's terrible. Actually, what you leave with is really, really bad.
Yeah, it's really heavy.
All for just a little bit of sense gratification. And then I wanted to show you mentioned kind of how they want to do anything they can to avoid having religious principles in society. That's like so true. Like they'll do anything to what you see again on books and stuff. People are like so averse to like, is this religion? And no. Like
yeah.
If it's not religion, it's like cool. Like yeah, I'm into it. But as soon as like it's the same thing, but it's just labeled religion.
Yeah, I mean, like
a horrible thing.
Like that. The guy came here. My friend. What's his name? You spoke to him?
Oh yeah.
Sean,
yeah.
He came, and he's a really nice guy, but he's not religious at all.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, I was explaining to him, like, okay, you're not religious, but your philosophy or the science that you follow is also it's a religion of atheism.
Yeah.
So it's like you're still following religion, but these froggish jugglers thinking they can get out of surrendering to Krishna. Ultimately, eventually, they will hopefully come to surrender.
And then you said that they think that advancing science and technology is like so amazing and all this stuff. And then there's this term that I heard a while ago, but it's called effective altruism. And so here the definition is that it's a philosophical and social movement that advocates impartially calculating benefits and prioritizing causes to provide the greatest good. It's motivated by using evidence and reason to figure out how to benefit others as much as possible and taking action on that basis. So there's this like school of thought now that, well, we should give in charity only to like the charities that are going to most benefit people, right? So what is going to create the greatest amount of good in the world? So they have so many billionaires that are participating in this, but again, they're so foolish they don't understand what's actually beneficial. But actually, this is real effective altruism. This is like the only effective altruism. All of that is completely ineffective. It's
Srila
can't be
Prabhupada
called
was
altruism.
Srila Prabhupada was also making that point yesterday in his class, that all these karmis, they're trying very hard to have some mundane piety, try to help the homeless, help the kids in school, help like this, help like that. But Srila Prabhupada is saying actually this is all useless. Ultimately, it's all useless. The real welfare work is Krishna consciousness, because we're trying to help everyone. The ultimate benefit is to try to, like I was reading Bhakti Lata Beach, give the seed of devotional service to the jiva. Like that. So Srila Prabhupada was making that point yesterday, which is in correlation with that.
And then kind of in relation to this idea that they think technology is so good, that's my last comment, but there's effective altruism, and then now there's a new thing called effective accelerationism, which this is a 21st century philosophical movement that advocates for an explicitly pro-technology stance. Its proponents believe that unrestricted technological progress, especially driven by artificial intelligence, is a solution to universal human problems like poverty, war, and climate change. So their advocation is that no regulation, no rules, just accelerate technology at any cost. Like do whatever you can to make technology more advanced.
Oh my God.
Even if there's short-term devastation, all this stuff, and people, whatever, like, even if lives are lost, it doesn't matter. Just make it,
That's crazy.
accelerate the technology as much as possible and do whatever you can. Don't
And then when they
regulate
get
it at
this
all.
technology, they won't be able to even think. Like, I mean, even now people have this, like, Google search, ChatGPT. People like just to do anything at all, people just stop thinking. And a lot of people don't even realize it. Like, like you stop, like even when I was in like school, like whatever, they had these online classes during COVID, like most of the time I was just cheating because I was using this, whatever, ChatGPT or whatever. You stop thinking, I mean, that's like just an analogy, but people stop just thinking completely, like, and then they, what to speak of thinking of material things, they'll never even come to spiritual ideas ever. It's like, they become completely brain dead, like their mind just rots. It's really horrible. That's why we need Varnashram Dharma,
Right.
Trying
You
to
really
do
see that
the
whole,
real
like
thing.
that verse in Bhagavad Gita that they're engaged in works that are horrible works that are meant to destroy the world. Like you see that.
Yeah.
Like, there's people literally thinking like that. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You're correlating those verses from the Bhagavad Gita, like Prabhu was talking about. They're like sworn to unclean works. And I was kind of thinking about, I mean, in this purport today, Prabhupada mentions this word vikarma.
Yeah. Without any work.
Yeah.
Without any beneficial work.
Yeah, like destructive work. And I was thinking how even we as devotees are forced to participate in this society, more or less, because we don't have our stuff together. So we're actually, we actually aren't living like proper human beings because we're eating the fruits of a demoniac society, actually. Like, we don't want to take care of cows, we'll have someone else do it, and then, it's really, really sad. Yeah, we're eating the fruits of a sinful society.
Yeah. We're trying to dovetail that in Krishna service, but yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. That's why I was trying to make the point, we really need to start these Varnashram Dharma farm communities, because this is like the only way we completely cut ourselves off from this demoniac materialistic society. It's really the only place. That's what Prabhupada wanted, and that's what we should do. So in the future, like I was speaking to Kartikeya yesterday, I was telling him that we should do this now. Well, we should have did it way back then, but we should try to better start somewhere. We have to just to finish the marathon, we have to start somewhere. So we have to look towards the future. So many more devotees will come, children will come, like that. So we need a place for them so they won't be polluted by this super demoniac society, as Ali Krishna was reading out, the advancement for technology. It's all nonsense.
Yeah, we can engage the things in this society in Krishna's service, the fruits of the demoniac society, engage in Krishna's service, but the vast majority of the time we're actually affected by that. Our consciousness is affected by that. We just visited this Christian place where they're all Christians, they're all meat eaters. They have these sort of demoniac tendencies to enjoy killing an animal with their own hands. Yet they still don't divorce each other, and the society is very well organized. All their children are very well behaved. They all have some faith in God, and this is due to they're living relatively in the mode of goodness. And Vishnu Chitta Prabhu was making the point that if these people who are meat eaters and enjoy, like one person was saying, like they go with their kids and they use scissors to cut off the heads of little hens.
Oh my God.
And this is like some fun activity they do with their kids. So if these people can have their lives so together, if these people can have such faith in God and not get divorced, then why can't devotees do that? And it's because we're living in this society. We're influenced heavily by the modes of passion and ignorance due to living in the city. And I mean, obviously devotees are on a much higher platform, but from a external perspective, when you see devotees that are influenced in this way by city life, it's not. It may appear that they're behaving improperly, and it might not be very inspiring for people. But if devotees gather together and live a more sattvic way of life off the land, not influenced by the lifestyle of city life, then people will become inspired by that. There'll be they'll see very clearly the difference between someone who's Krishna conscious and someone who's living just a karmi life in today's society. So, yeah, I mean, we can live in the city and engage everything in Krishna's service, but the very nature of these things which we engage in Krishna's service affects us.
Yeah.
And so it's best just to lead a better life as Srila Prabhupada wanted us to.
Yeah, I had that practical, I had like first-hand experience. I saw that. Even as a karmi, when I was in New Orleans. New Orleans is a very like dark city. Like it looks like some like Gotham City or something. It's like horrible. They have abandoned buildings and like voodoo and like it's just a crazy place. You know, a lot of crazy stuff happens there. Homeless, crazy guys, and everyone is like always on this party mood, party. And I really never liked New Orleans. And then I found, you know, obviously I came to Krishna consciousness, and then I found out about New Taliban, and I went there, and I could just even just like on the way there, I could just immediately see there's like a huge like leap of difference from like, you know, I mean, they're like not 100% self-sufficient, but you know, they're way better than, you know, like they have, at least they have their own farm community, and that's where they live, that's where they stay, not from the city, so like 1 hour away from the city. And I could just see, like, these people are, like, they feel bright-faced, they look bright-faced, they look like they're shining. These people look like they're actually happy. And I was completely shocked. Like, huh? Yeah, they're all old, too. And, like, they're, like, old, they have nothing. They're, like, live very simple lives. And, like, they just, like, live on a farm and just do simple things. I'm like, how is this possible? I'm trying so hard to get money, get a car, get a job, get all these material opulences and try to enjoy so hard, but I'm just going back in bed and just laying down like, what the heck am I doing in my life? I'm suffering like anything. And then I go here and I see these people, I was like, wow, these guys are like really like super happy. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. You could just, even karmis can like see that, you know, it's like it's stark of a difference between city life and farm life. So yeah, we need to try to do this because it's very important for future generations and now for the society of devotees, like you said. You know, devotees are struggling with this divorce and regulations and stuff like this because of this influence of this demoniac society in the city.
So there was a verse you would reference. It was 16:13.
Yeah.
Talking about how the demoniac person thinks. And it was like, oh, I've killed my enemy. I'm perfect. I'm this.
Yeah,
It made me think of
I'm
like,
the big boss.
Yeah, like all these like affirmations that people like read out to the like, on like maybe they do it on like a day-to-day basis. Like, oh, I'm beautiful and I'm smart and I'm this. And it's just like it's
Self-manifestation.
It's like all that manifestation nonsense. There was a lecture that Maharaj had given. I think it's the implications of spiritual knowledge. It was speaking on chapter 2, verse 13, but he was saying it's amazing how big the false ego can get, you know, when one doesn't realize how insignificant they are ultimately, and how the jiva is ultimately only Krishna's marginal energy, and all this useless striving for material perfection. I mean, real perfection is actually realizing that your original position as a servant essentially was more or less
Jive Swarup Krishna Nitya Das.
Right. This is ultimately the point he was making. So I like that point. There was one other thing. I actually didn't make that comment about the acts.
No, I remember you added on to that.
Well, I added on to it. Yeah, Rishi made it, and he was quoting Parameshwar-Prabhu. So I just want to not take that. So.
Anything else, Mataji's? No? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. ki.